Welcome back. Well, like we promised, Indian Oil Corporation is on our radar. It's in focus ahead of its inclusion in the Nifty as well. But more importantly, Finance Minister Jaitley had spoken about the possibility of creating an oil PSU behemoth, merging most of the companies. Joining in to speak on all these issues is Mr. B. Ashok, Chairman of IOC. Good morning, Mr. Ashok. Good to have you with us. Congratulations, both you and first of all, you are going to be part of the Nifty, but more importantly, we understand that Chennai Petro and you are going to be merged shortly, or Chennai Petro is going to be merged into IOC shortly. Any update you can share with us on this?
No, while no decision has been taken on Chennai Petro, I am only saying that, as a standalone company, in today's volatile environment, there is certainly a problem for standalone companies to sustain on a long-term basis. So Chennai Petro is already a subsidiary of ours, and definitely we will be looking forward to see if the merger is possible. However, I mean, these are decisions which needs to be taken after considering all the stakeholders in the on board, and then we are working towards it. So let's see.
Morning, Mr. Ashok. Is there any timeline then for the merger of Chennai Petro with the company?
See, we are working on the on a consensus amongst the stakeholders. So we are taking it at this point of time only in those steps. So it's very difficult to mention a time frame for merger, if any. Merger is one of the options. Basically, we are looking at how to improve the strength of CPCL as such. There are some opportunities for growth as for the company as well. And basically, a merger could be a good option for that company, and we will need to take it further from there.
So can you elaborate? What could be the options if you're looking at apart from a merger?
No, essentially, I mean, it also needs a lot of investment. So we need to take decisions in terms of future plans for CPCL, in terms of the growth of CPCL itself.
Mr. Ashok, what about the Paradip refinery ramp-up?
See, essentially, we should look at Paradip refinery from a few perspectives. Number one is that in terms of its own production, now the refinery is certainly in a much more stable mode of operation. We are currently operating at almost 90% of its capacity. So that's number one. The second thing is, its ability to meet the logistical needs of the eastern part of the country. Earlier we used to move products from elsewhere and so on. Today certainly it has helped that the product is available in large quantities from this refinery for the eastern part of the country. The third thing is the connectivity between this refinery and some of the interior locations. Today we have commissioned pipelines connecting Paradip with Raipur in central India, as well as to Korba, as well as to Jharsuguda and so on. So all those pipeline connectivities have been established and pipelines have started operating, and some of these terminals are receiving the product directly from the refinery. So in terms of overall logistics, this has gone a long way in terms of not only optimizing our logistics, but also ensuring that products get moved at the right time in the right quantities.
Okay, Mr. Ashok, on 15 there was no price move. The fortnightly revision of petrol and diesel didn't take place. Any reason for that?
No, we keep reviewing on a continuous basis. There are issues in terms of, there has been a little bit of firming up of prices, and then there has been an easing up of prices also. It has been in a very small range bound. And parallelly, the second issue which needs to be factored is also what is our, the conversion, the dollar-rupee rate. So that has also been moving around. So we are taking decisions based on both these movements in a time-bound manner. So whenever the revision is required, we will be doing it.
One concern in the market is that oil marketing companies have already seen the best days in terms of gross refining margins. Now that inventory gains will also be limited, do you think the glory days are over?
There are two things which are required to be done. Number one is, we need to keep our operational parameters under control. I think as Indian Oil, we have been doing that fairly well over the last 3 years. and things have only been improving. We are setting new benchmarks for operational performance. The second thing is in terms of GRM is what is the price of crude and what is the price of the finished product in the international market. Basically, the cracks will determine the GRMs. If the operational parameters and the cracks are good, the GRMs will be good. So cracks today are more in a sort of a range which is reasonable. I believe that with crude prices also being range bound, if the cracks are in the current order, then we should continue to do well.
Okay, Mr. Ashok, what kind of volumes do you anticipate in FY18 compared to your peers?
No, overall, I think even in the current year, we are expecting a volume growth of between 3 and 4 million tons for the year. And this sort of growth rate is continuing. I mean, we expect the growth rate for overall products to be in the range of 4 to 5%. So when you talk of the entire product slate, this is a very, very good growth rate. Having said that, again, in gasoline, the growth rates are pretty robust. I mean, during the current year up to now, we have been growing at more than 8%. I mean, last year we had close to double-digit growth. This year we are growing at a little around 8% mark. And diesel, of course, is a little more flat, but it is in the positive territory. Diesel has a bigger base, so obviously the growth rates cannot match with that of petrol. So diesel is growing. There are also other issues connected to availability of power, etc., which determine diesel demand. Definitely power availability has been very good. So to some extent the diesel growth rates have been impacted, but it is a positive growth, which shows that there is more movement of traffic and need for fuel. LPG is the other big product which is growing in size because of the PMUI program, as well as the normal growth which is happening. We are growing at double digits in LPG. So all these three products which constitute the bulk of the volumes are continuing to grow.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, talking about gas, let's move on.